Hello and welcome back to KSP POV, where we play Kerbal Space Program in first person. So today we are going to make another attempt at landing on the Mun. In the last episode, the Phoenix one had some problems landing. We came in way too fast because we time warped and were careless, and so we ended up breaking off a good part of our ship. I don't think it's the ship's fault. I don't think it's the design of the ship. We had plenty of Delta V left and all that stuff. So I'm just going to run it as a second mission. Right now. I'm remembered that my solar panels weren't on the action group. Just kind of going through here, double checking everything, and making sure the crew is right. And why not give them some fun outfits? Okay, so here is our take two, the Phoenix 2, ready to rise from the ashes. And as always, we're getting our setup. Well, set up. We're deciding we're going to put the vessel view over here on the left now. Liked that a little bit better than having it on the right as we had before. And throttling up only to 64% because these Pila engines, especially 5 of them, have some serious thrust. It's good to manage your thrust-to-weight ratio on your ascent, not only because you don't want your Kerbals to experience too many G's at once, but you also have to worry about the heating on your craft. And also, lastly, a little bit more importantly, is if you get your apoapsis too high before your actual altitude gets high enough, you're going to have to keep burning in order to stabilize yourself as you fly forward, which is only going to bring your apoapsis even higher. And it's also not as efficient. You have to fight against the atmosphere a lot more. If you just kind of keep yourself at a sweet spot where you're not putting out more energy to fight the atmosphere than you need to. So we're in space now, just circulating our orbit. There goes the last of our side boosters. And because we use the fuel tanks, our bottom tank is completely full. I'm having to do a little bit of a manual burn, and as you can see, I was lifted above my prograde to just give myself a little more altitude because my time to apoapsis was decreasing even though I was burning. So we go ahead and we target the Mun. Start looking at all our information to plan out our burn. We're lowering the thrust because the Pila engine in space is very intense. And yeah, so right now I'm going pretty quickly through this episode because there's a lot that goes on. Right there we just changed we're working on changing our inclination, our relative inclination to the Mun. And once again, we have another badass in our midst. I don't know if that's good anymore. We've killed 2 so far. So right now we get our scientists out on EVA to collect any signs they can. For some reason, none of the materials except for the graviton had anything, but because the graviton had something, then the possibility of the other side of the craft had it too. So our scientist, NCAN, is another one of the club to do spacewalk, untethered spacewalk, and has to find his way onto the other side of this ship. And it's just these 4 experiments here. So I have the little ladder to hold on to grab them, but of course you have to get yourself to the ladder. These controls are very difficult, by the way. It doesn't like to slowly turn yourself, so when you start to rotate or you press hard in any direction and you go spinning very quickly. But I'm getting the hang of it. Oh, that spotlight right there at the top is from a mod called Tracking Lights, and it is great. As you can see, that light is following me the whole way. It doesn't really matter so much in space, but in on a planet, if it's dark out, you can wander around the ship and have a spotlight follow you wherever you go. So that's very handy. You see, it's turning to face me. Yeah, definitely recommend that mod. So yeah, successful EVA. We didn't kill anybody. Can't complain. Now we're just getting ready, but of course we weren't ready. That whole time that I was time warping forward, we weren't even pointing at the maneuver. So at the very last minute, I get myself pointed correctly, and we make our inclination burn. Now we are doing our lunar injection, and since this is a lander, we want to come in nice and low, so that way we don't have to spend extra time lowering our orbit after we've already gotten it. I'm not sure if that's the best way, but that is the way that I've been kind of doing it. That's the way that I've always learned. Maybe it would be more efficient to come in at a higher altitude than hit orbit, because maybe you're not going as fast, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm here watching the closest approach, that little number in the purple. Trying to use the instruments as much as possible and stay out of map mode except for making maneuvers. But I have been practicing with the Astrogator and the MechJeb controls inside the ship, so I think I might be getting better at that, and I might end up not needing to use the map. I'm not entirely sure, but hopefully. I mean, I do feel that the map is okay for a first-person mode play. You know, the idea is that it's just another screen you have, or it's another thing that Mission Control is looking at. But also in the same hand, you know, we have these tools available to us. We just need to learn how to use them. I think the phase angle is what I need to start paying attention next, and start understanding that, because then I can understand where I need to make my burn without having to plot it. But all in good time. And then we go ahead and time warp our way over. All the Kerbals are probably having some snacks, getting excited. And we go ahead and make our capture burn. It's quite a long burn. So maybe there was something to potentially coming in higher. These are things you that you end up thinking about when you get the chance to look at your footage after the fact and see where certain things went wrong, or where you could have done things, or even just making sense of what happened. Yep, so I got some science, and then I was going to fast forward to the bright side of the mud, but then I realized I have the opportunity for more science, and so I go ahead and kill time warp, and I get in here and I start preparing for NCAN to do another EVA. But for some reason my material science wasn't going. I couldn't take an EVA. I have X Science installed. I don't have 4 Science. 4 Science is another mod. That's one that automatically grabs all the science in the area. I don't have that installed, so I don't understand why the experiments aren't going. However, I just noticed all those experiments that went into the cabin was quite a lot. So maybe it is auto-grabbing? I'll have to check that. And we got it, but we don't have a good hold on it. We're on the angled ladder, so climbing up is not gonna happen. So we just have to let go. This whole time I was on the edge of my seat. My heart was pounding. And then for some reason I couldn't get in the cabin. I started freaking out, and I realized I just needed to dump off the experiments. So 2 successful spacewalks for NCAN, coming back in safe, doing a great job as a scientist. So now I want to land by where the rover is, but it is way too dark over there, and I didn't want to have to do another night landing, especially something so risky, so I checked on their life support and just decided to time warp until the rover was on the light side of the mud. Which also now in hindsight I realize if I had a higher orbit they wouldn't have had to go as far. But we go ahead and angle ourselves in for a landing, or to get above the rover so we can come in for a landing. So now we're coming in above it. We're just gonna plot in another maneuver to get ourselves to land. Have to make some minor corrections, but it's not too bad. I'm gonna leave a lot of the rest of this footage uncut. That's why I went so quickly through the rest of it, the beginning parts, is because a lot of it was pretty standard, and it's the mun that we are interested in. We want to get to. So I like doing this sometimes, is coming in at an angle and then just directly above it plotting in a maneuver. And then that's where I'll kill off my horizontal velocity. And I also add a little bit of normal burn to it to better land. Oh, it looks beautiful. It's a bit of a long burn. And we're coming in pretty quickly. And I go ahead and set up the auto landing gear, so it will deploy at 2,000 meters. There's a lot of information to be had on that orbital screen right there, and I've been practicing. I've been learning a little bit more and using it more to pilot my crafts. I had a couple times where I was just playing around in creative mode, trying to practice some maneuvers and stuff. Not anything for this series, so I didn't record it, but I used these instruments a lot more in those missions. So I'm going to try to integrate that here once again, going back to that, because I really like to keep true to form of this challenge, being an astronaut simulator. And we're almost done, and we kill our engines. It's hard to see, so zoomed out from there, how close we are going to be, but it looks like we're going to be close enough that if we have to just RCS pack our way over there, then we can do that. And it's not great that it's on the edge of a crater. Our slope angle is still decent though. It's below 6, which is usually out of the red. I guess it's 7 there, and it's not red yet. But so I must not think that it's too bad for landing. But still, it's never ideal to straddle crater's edge like that. So I realized I was my navigation ball was pointed toward, it was set to the target and not the surface. So my retrograde was very off to where I was actually, the directions that I was actually going. So when I realized that, I had to make some real quick adjustments because I only had a couple hundred meters to work with from there. So something to know about this rocket design is that stage that's bringing us down for landing has separatrons attached to the top of it, pointing retrograde to launch the tank into the ground for seismographer experiments. I had forgotten this, and this tank was supposed to be jettisoned much higher up, and so now we're only about 20 some odd or 60 some odd meters above the ground, and I'm not thinking about all this stuff. I'm not thinking about the separatrons. So when I go ahead and stage it, you will see the fault in my design. There we go. So you see the separatrons fired, burnt off some part of it, and now they're firing towards the ground. They came ricocheting back up and tapped my landing gear. So now we're going sideways. Now we are sideways. We've made contact with the ground. Less than ideal. We can still recover this, hopefully. I just need to get out of the craft and get an eye on what's going on outside, what it looks like, because I can't see anything through the windows, and the camera wasn't showing me. So I go ahead and turn our pilot around. Megcot goes to open the door. get ready to do, I believe, her first EVA. This is her first time on the MUN. So everyone's waited with bated breath as the door slowly rises up. Meg Cut psychs herself up and goes and grabs her helmet. Then she tries to get out the door and finds out that all hatches are obstructed. So, kind of defeated, she turns herself around, and we are going to have to wait until the next episode to see how we get them out of this situation. The Perilous Pitfalls in the Phoenix 2. Well, that's where I'm going to leave you. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, please consider giving me a like, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.